Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast.
The sterile injectable CDMO market is experiencing unprecedented demand, driven by the explosive growth in biologics, GLP-1 therapeutics, and complex drug delivery systems. Yet capacity constraints, regulatory complexity, and the technical challenges of scaling sterile manufacturing continue to test even the most established players. For sponsors, selecting the right manufacturing partner increasingly means looking beyond capacity alone to expertise in specific delivery modalities and a track record of navigating the path from clinical to commercial scale. Today, we're speaking with Tommy Shornak, Senior Vice President of Sterile Injectables at Kindeva. Tommy spent nearly 20 years in sterile manufacturing operations before joining Kindeva in 2025, including at AMRI, Thermo Fisher Scientific, and Gilead Sciences. In this conversation, we'll explore how Kindeva is positioning its sterile injectable capabilities in an increasingly competitive market, where they're focusing their technology investments, and how they're adapting their partnership models to meet evolving sponsor needs. We'll also discuss their approach to sustainability in sterile manufacturing, how geopolitical factors are shaping their strategy, and what Tommy sees as the capabilities that will truly differentiate CDMOs in the years ahead. So a lot to get through. Thanks for joining me, Tommy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
With demand for sterile injectable CDMOs sort of continuing to grow, what are you focused on in Kindeva that you think will define your position, over the next sort of 5-10 years?
Yeah, it's a great question, and thanks again for having me. I think Kindeva is positioned itself to be a global leading CDMO for sterile injectables. We've done so with an investment over the last few years of over $200 million into our new state-of-the-art Bridgeton facility. And really what that's centered around is capacity-driven alignment with the market. Really moving away from taking an approach of a reactive approach to what our customers need and being proactive in terms of alignment on what we think they'll need in the future. That allows ourselves to help position speed to tech transfer as well as one of our offerings by having a footprint in St. Louis that offers kind of end-to-end capabilities to allow us to tech transfer a customer in or a product in, and then do all full fill finish services, including packaging, to be able to deliver to the market on time, which is clearly an expectation of customers around the world. But really, we want to position ourselves to be a global leading CDMO that can provide end-to-end services over the next 5 years.
Let's talk about your investment strategy for a minute. So where are you sort of putting your budget in technology? What are you trying to accomplish with these investments?
Yeah, so the technology we invested in, like I just said, we've invested over $200 million in a new state-of-the-art facility. That facility was an ISPE Facility of the Future finalist in 2025. So we invested, lots of dollars in making sure we had a highly compliant, future-proof, ready facility with compliant technology to offer customer services that we hope differentiate ourselves from other CDMOs. With that said, that's our most strategic investment, but we are investing in other areas like microneedle technology. So we're an innovator and a leader in that space as well, to hopefully have a different complex drug delivery system or offering for our customers. And then we have what I would consider strategic expansion space available for partners that would want to further invest in different modalities or capacity that they need to support their future needs. But I think, kind of foundationally, it's around reliable, consistent performance and delivery. And we've invested heavily to ensure that there's no disruptions in the future for our partners.
So you're sort of splitting your investments between new modalities and also making sure that sort of resilience is there for your customers.
Yeah, that's right. I think you really have to have invested in state-of-the-art compliant fill lines, which we've already done. We have 4 that are coming online in Bridgeton, and they are not just built to be compliant for today, they're built to be compliant for the long term.
How are you thinking about your geographic footprint and supply chain resilience, given current geopolitical uncertainties?
Our current footprint, our injectable market is centered around the St. Louis area. So we offer different modalities and different sterile injectable services out of that region. And for us right now, it's really around supplier onboarding and continuity of where we get vendor supplied material from. So I think our first pass here is we cannot afford to be single sourced in any scenario. because of those uncertainties around the world right now. So as we onboard a customer, we're going to work with them to ensure we have different streams of offerings for any vendor supplied material, and we're going to work to qualify them to ensure continuity in the St. Louis area. And then, perhaps in the future, there's opportunity to further expand. But right now, we're really focused on onboarding and bringing up the Bridgeton facility, which was a strategic investment for us.
I hear people talking about dual sourcing a lot. So is that your strategy, kind of having one main source and then sort of a backup supplier, or how does that sort of work?
Yeah, no single source strategy at Kindeva. I think that's what I was just alluding to. I think it's really around having a rigorous policy where we're scenario planning to ensure continuity in that supply. So yeah, I think there'll probably be a preferred supplier, either by us or by our customers that we onboard. We'll certainly, use and work with whoever that needs to be. But I think a critical component of onboarding a new product is no single source strategy. So it'll be dual supply in certain scenarios, and if we need to, tertiary supply, if that's what's required based on kind of uncertainty of where that product is being provided from.
Tell me more about that scenario planning you mentioned. I mean, things seem to be moving quite unpredictably, maybe with policy shifts. How do you scenario plan for potential policy shifts that could affect your strategy?
Yeah, well, it's during the onboarding and assessment phase of a product. I think what we want to do is partner with our customers to really investigate business models and suppliers that we might be using. And ensure that we understand continuity of supply against those global kind of policy shifts. So it's really around risk assessment and identification as you onboard that product or customer into Kindeva, and working as a partner to understand where are they coming from, how are we qualifying them, and then risk assessing against what we see are potential global policy shifts to have preventative actions in place before they become a reality. I think COVID taught everybody a whole lot around kind of global supply and uncertainty as it shifts to different things as the market tends to do. And what that meant was we found out everybody, to your earlier point, was really sole sourced, and that just can't be a component of what we're doing moving forward.
Tell me a bit more about that customer experience you mentioned, specifically data sharing. How do you handle data sharing with sponsors from that sort of beginning, that development through to commercial manufacturing? What's sort of working well in your plans, and maybe do you have any sort of places you still see friction?
I think, you're really talking about partnership and partnership models, and data sharing is a key component of that. So I think what we see in the market are customers that really just want access and transparency. So our model is really built around that. Real-time data sharing, real-time transparency as to what's happening on the manufacturing floor, and no surprises. So I think it works a bit both ways. So we need access as the CDMO to certain data and specifics around the product or what's happening with the product. And our customers expect real-time data transparency back. So we're really focused on structuring that cadence up front as we partner with the customer to begin with. And that starts with understanding the needs of the customer and what we need, and making that part of table stakes as the partnership moving forward. But our customers have real-time access to any data that they think they would need or want. And if we don't or can't offer that, we're going to go figure out a solution as to how.
Let's switch gears, but still on that sort of partnership angle. Tell me about commercial models. Are you seeing sponsors push beyond sort of traditional fee-for-service? What's sort of changing in how you're seeing these deals get structured?
Well, yeah, I think this alludes back to, we saw lots of changes over the last 5 or 6, 7 years around how partnership models might work or how they want them to work. And what we see is sponsors really shifting towards pre-qualification of CDMOs. So they're working towards how do they not have disruption in supply, and what does that partnership model really look like? They want access to capacity, guaranteed capacity, and they want to know that a facility has been well vetted, is compliant, and is approved prior to spending all the time and effort and energy into TT and a product into that facility. So it's really around pre-product qualification is what we see sponsors moving to. They have vetted capacity and a good line of sight of what that capacity might be in the event that their ramping up capacity happens faster than what they thought it would be. And then they ultimately want a reliable CDMO that can deliver on what they say they will by when they say they'll do it. So our commercial structure is really changing to pivot towards being adaptable to what our customers or sponsors want. So at Kindeva, we're open to obviously being pre-qualified and having MSAs in place before we get going. We're open to traditional models where we TT and have a forecasting mechanism, and we're open to different partners that want capacity reservations or guaranteed capacity in the future. So I think what we see in the market is a pivot towards flexibility, and Kindeva's positioned to offer that flexibility to sponsors moving forward.
Let's talk about sustainability. It's on all the farmers' minds at the moment with net zero targets. In sterile manufacturing, it seems particularly challenging given clean room requirements, single-use systems. What specific actions have you taken to reduce environmental impact?
Yeah, so with our new investment in Bridgeton, we designed the facility with sustainability in mind. So it starts with having a sustainable facility in terms of carbon footprint that it has on the environment around it. So we've designed the facility to be low water usage, low waste coming out of that facility, all the things that you would expect, including LED lighting and easy things from a sustainability perspective. But it was really designed with sustainability in mind. Now, to your point, we are certainly using single-use systems and other elements that could have high carbon kind of footprint or impact. So really, again, it's working with our suppliers to make sure what vendors are we getting that from, and then what's going into that manufacturing process. But at Kindeva, not just Kindeva, it's worldwide. To your point, sustainability is top of mind. And we're working with vendors to ensure that our sustainability programs meet the requirements of our sponsors, and that we're doing and being good stewards to the environment around us.
How do you measure and report sustainability metrics to your clients?
Yeah, so we're going to adopt how our customers or sponsors want to see it. But as a company, we've onboarded a contractor, G&A, to take a look at how we score from a sustainability perspective. And from 25 to 26, we've actually been able to increase our score by taking kind of proactive measures around waste control and other energy consumption initiatives that we have. So our EcoVadis score has gained 12 points. But our approach is we really wanted to get a good baseline understanding through an independent review of our sustainability program. And then work to take targeted actions to improve that over the coming 12 months, 18 months.
Let's look out a bit to the future, more broadly as well, looking ahead to 2030, which seems like a while away, but actually it's just around the corner. How do you want Kindeva's sterile injectable business to evolve?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. And 2030 is certainly right around the corner already. And I think really what we want to do from an injectables perspective is look to be a one-stop partner that owns a large share of the space. I think what we see for sure is the market is projected to reach over $1 trillion in value. And we want to help own the entire value chain for our sponsors. I think the CDMO sector specifically really is looking for what we've talked a lot about earlier in this interview, and that's around trusted partners that can have consistent, reliable supply. And we want to be viewed as a fully Annex 1 compliance facility and partner that can pivot when needed and supply uninterrupted to patients ultimately that need it.
On that point, what does a good partnership look like to you?
Yeah, a good partnership is one in which our sponsors are really transparent around performance, forecasting of what they need and by when they need it, and transparent partnership in the sense that they can tell us what they need and we can deliver on it. And I think our part of that equation is good partnership means that we're committing to what we say we can do by when we say we can do it. And if we cannot commit to something, we're open and transparent about the reasons of why we can't commit to it. And we're working to provide solutions to the sponsors. Because at the end of the day, I think what we do is so important in terms of providing life-saving or extending products to patients that need it around the world. it's of extreme importance that we have a good, transparent partnership in which we can deliver to those patients that are waiting on it.
Finally, what capabilities in sterile manufacturing do you think over the next few years will become table stakes versus real differentiators?
Yeah, table stakes have already shifted, I think, to just simply be in compliance. I think there are a lot of regulations that have come to light over the last 5 to 10 years. One of them certainly being Annex 1 requirements. And really what that says is you really need to remove the employee or the person from where you're filling sterile injectables. And what that meant is, you saw a lot of CDMOs trying to catch up and invest in isolator technology. We've done that already through the investment in Bridgeton. But there'll come a time over the next few years where you're just not going to be able to fill in old technology. You're not going to be able to fill in RABS technology or older technology or fill lines. You're going to have to be compliant, and it's going to become table stakes. It's simply you are or you are not. And, I hope that everybody can continue to invest to ensure that that's part of their programs moving forward. It certainly is a Kindeva. And then, I think the other portion is, can you be a supplier that has uninterrupted end-to-end supply for your partners or sponsors? So I think you'll start to see an expectation more and more of owning the entire supply chain at one CDMO versus 5 or 6, because sponsors spend a lot of energy and effort trying to manage all of those relationships. If they just come to Kindeva for fill finish offering and then have to go to somebody else for inspection, packaging, labeling, shipping, all of those types of things, that's an incredible amount of time of which the patient has to wait for the medicine, and an incredible amount of effort and energy that the sponsor or customer has to put into managing those relationships. So I think you'll start to see it shift towards, can I go to one CDMO as one offering? And we hope to position ourselves to be that one offering over the next few years here.
That integrated model. Well, Tommy, thanks a lot for your time telling me about Kindeva's strategy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great to talk to you today.